Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. Your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam. We're back to the Star Wars universe today with episodes 1 and 2 of Ahsoka. Joining me to discuss them, it's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Hello.
Hey mate, how you doing?
I'm tired, but I'm okay. I
Tired.
had a really stupid idea, didn't I?
Okay, go on, tell everyone your stupid idea.
Well, it came out that when the release date was, and we all knew the release date was the 23rd of August. Fine, perfect,
Yeah.
not a problem. It then got announced that they were releasing it in America at the same time as the UK.
Yep.
So therefore, it was going to come out over here at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And I give Disney Plus their credit. At bang on 2 a.m. this morning, I refreshed the page and there it was.
Wow.
Yeah. A little bit excited for this show that I actually stayed up until 2 a.m. to watch the first episode.
Yes, that is a little bit crazy. I was very excited for the show. I, however, did not do that. But yeah, so we got episode 1 and 2. We're gonna sort of waltz our way through them because I can understand why they've released them together. The both of them are very much a kind of setting everything up episodes. Once again, based on what I'm reading, the episode lengths for Disney Plus series is going to be ridiculous. So episode 1 was in the sort of 50 odd minutes to sort of like an hour episode. Episode 2 similar. But apparently episode 3 is going to be 30 minutes. So
Yes, episode 1, if you include intros and credits, was 53 minutes.
Yep.
And episode 2 was 44, I think it was.
Yep.
But that does include like a good 5 minutes of credits at the end.
Oh, massively, yeah.
So it's it's one of those. But again, I must stand by what I've said before. As long as the quality is good, don't make them 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
Please don't make them 25 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm not. I still find the up and down all over the place runtimes ridiculous.
It hurts my head. I have OCD. I want everything to be 45 minutes. I'm just done.
Well, it just makes no sense. I mean, I get on streaming, you've got that leeway, and that's fine. But surely you're targeting a length. You know, these episodes, our target is 40 minutes of content, per episode. Some of them might be 38, some might be 44. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of.
We're
at least
aiming
have
for
a kind
that
of a
ballpark.
At least have a target. But with this, it just doesn't appear to go that way.
No.
So anyway, as per tradition on this podcast, the title of episode 1 was
Master and Apprentice.
Very good, and the title of episode 2 was
Toil and Troubled.
Okay, so just from those titles straight away, there appears to be some sort of I don't know. I kind of like a little bit nerdy with this, Master and Apprentice. Yep. Obviously, throughout Star Wars, any of the lore, the books, the films, any of the TV shows, anything with the Jedi, the Sith, Master and Apprentice is kind of a big thing. That's kind of, there was 2 there are and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What did you think? So this show appears to me, timeline-wise, to be picking up not long after that episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, where Ahsoka has captured Morgan.
Yes. It looks like it is a kind of straight... As soon as they kind of said about the capturing of...
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, that's where we are.
I recognise something here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, alright, so that's roughly where we are, and we've got a New Republic ship transporting her to the New Republic to stand trial. This ship is then going to be meeting with somebody, but somebody else shows up and transmits an old Jedi code. The captain of the ship's a bit of an arrogant idiot, who's like, they're not gonna be Jedi. The Jedi have been wiped out. They're just gonna be some idiots pretending to be Jedi. We'll show up with our guns, and However, they at least one of them, the late Ray Stevenson's character, and I should say that actually, the actor Ray Stevenson did pass away before this series, so after filming this and all the post-production was done, the actor actually died.
Yes.
Which is incredibly sad because, for obvious reasons, but just incredibly sad that we've got this amazing sort of body of work coming from him right now, and he's not going to get to experience the love. But yeah, Baylan is definitely a former Jedi, and you have he has an apprentice with him, Shin.
Yep.
Yeah, and basically they've obviously gone dark. The sabers are red, and they absolutely cut through the crew of this ship. Did you? I mean, again, I do this with Star Wars especially, but did you pick up on what felt like quite a lot of Star Wars nods in this opening?
I think there was definitely bits of it that you kind of like, that bit's for the fans. Oh,
Yeah.
that little bit there, I saw that. That was for the fans.
Yeah, it was like it's everything from the opening having like credit scroll, which was in red, by the way.
I noticed, it wasn't the normal, and it wasn't the normal format of a Star Wars scrolling up the screen. It was also to the side a bit, and I was like, okay.
Well, I think the main reason for that is in the final season of Clone Wars, the credits turn to red, and the reason why they do that it was to show the dark side had fallen. It'd become we're in a dark place right now, the Empire, etc. And I kind of felt like the beginning of this, perhaps there is an element of that, but we're going to be heading back towards the light, which will bring us more back in the balance, so the credits will be back in the middle, and they won't be red.
I like it.
So, yeah, very nerdy observation. So that was my thinking on that. But also we got the shot of the ship flying, and like the sort of over the ship as the ship comes in. I kind of like that. That was very
Star
Wars,
isn't it? That's very kind of opening of like A New Hope and all stuff like that. It's always a ship. Yeah.
Think about the opening of The Phantom Menace, the two Jedi walking onto the ship. It's very reminiscent of these two walking onto the ship. Think about the opening to A New Hope when Princess Leia's ship's being attacked. Even the uniform of the soldiers being cut through is very similar to that. There's even the moment where, like I said, Baylan's character's walking down a corridor. We love a good corridor fight across all the shows we do.
Oh, yes.
Was very reminiscent of Rogue One. The Vader scene.
Yeah.
So,
even
there was
down
a lot
to
there.
the point of them rescuing the prisoner, who
the
prisoners don't always seem to be very like, oh yeah, you've saved me. It always seems to be a bit of a took you bloody time.
Yeah, you're a bit short to be a stormtrooper. Well, stay in the cell and rot, you stuck up bitch. Yeah. So I liked it. I felt straight away, oh, I'm into this. Here we go. Okay, right. This just feels very Star Wars. They do free Morgan, so clearly they are working for her. She straight away says, like, a former Jedi has tracked down, the map for Thrawn, and says who she is, Ahsoka Tano. Dun dun dun. And then we get a kind of Lucasfilm are responsible for two of my favourite franchises, Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And for me, the moment where Ahsoka's basically going through the ruins of like a temple and doing a bit Indiana, cutting through
Very much, yeah.
It felt very like all of a sudden there was danger as well and had to run away, like all it needed was a boulder chasing a rot droid,
Yeah.
I kind of loved that. Now, I know you had every intention before this series started to finish the Clone Wars, to watch Rebels, to get yourself in this position where, okay, I'm gonna know as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I also know that you have a beautiful baby girl, and she likes to stop any attempt you ever have to have a moment to yourself.
Yes. Bless her.
So
Yeah.
that never happened. So
Very
when
correct.
when you were watching this sort of scene now, and this is a Night Sister temple, etc., were you following that, or did you struggle?
I was just kind of following what I was seeing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There, for me, I know very much in this 8 episodes that we have, there's going to be a lot of you going, and then this happened, and I sit there and go, makes sense now. So,
well, I mean, to an extent, maybe that happened. I think with these opening episodes, I'm going to do this very broad brushstrokes. I think there's a lot of people coming on board to this who perhaps are similar to where you are. And if I go, right, I'm going to jump 2-footed into this, in episode 4 of Clone Wars, you'll know that, people are just going to go, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
yeah, so I will put my hands up now. We all know fully well that myself and Lucasfilm had a bit of a rocky few years that we call the follow-up trilogy. I fell out of love with Star Wars with those 3 films. They weren't for me. I didn't enjoy them. It took me a very long time to watch the 2nd and 3rd, or the 8th and the 9th. It took me a long time to watch those, and I had fallen out of love a bit with Star Wars. So therefore, when Clone Wars came out and when Rebels came out and all things like that, I was very much a case of, if I want to watch Star Wars, I'm going to go watch A New Hope, or I'm going to go watch Return of the Jedi. Or heck, I might even go watch The Phantom Menace. I wasn't in a mood of watching the Clone Wars, for example, or Rebels, which I should have watched coming into this show. We then had shows like The Mandalorian come out.
Yeah.
The book came out, and now this. And my love for Star Wars has probably never been higher because of what people like Dave Filoni are doing with these shows. And you can tell these shows are made by someone who loves Star Wars.
Absolutely.
And since watching the first episode of Mandalorian, my love for Star Wars has turned up again. And I've gone back, and as you just said, I'm now trying to steamroll my way through things like the Clone Wars, where you find out you're like 8 seasons behind, and you're like, damn it. It's a lot of content to watch. But I'm working my way through it, so I'm hoping that some things that are going to happen, I'm still going to be like, yes, I got that.
Without a shadow of a doubt. So one of the things I think is kind of fun that they've had here is the Morgan character we didn't really know a lot about in The Mandalorian.
No.
Mandalorian format for seasons 1 and 2 was kind of a weekly side quest with an overall mission to the series. The overall mission obviously was to try and give Grogu over to the Jedi. The weekly side quests were amazing every week, and we kind of always had a lot of fun, especially on our podcast, where it'd be like, oh, poor Mando. Can't anyone just go to this place and be happy? It's always like, I'll tell you where to go, but first, need you to kill this beast for me. Really? So, yeah. And I kind of enjoyed that, and I loved that. That was very kind of ye olde Western style, and of course the Jedi role was based on samurai, and Dave Filoni took the kind of Western feeling with the Mandalorian, because that was where you wanted to go and ran with it. Now, I kind of feel like with Ahsoka, we're heading back to the kind of samurai feel. Even the music feels kind of, that kind of genre. So, I liked it. So the thing I was about to say, the character of Morgan was interesting to learn. She's well, I believe anyway, a Night Sister.
Yes.
Now the Night Sisters we come across in Clone Wars and obviously in the novellas for Star Wars as well. They are a highly force sensitive race, and they use the force. Think of them like witches.
I was going to say, yeah, basically force sensitive witches.
They are literally, yeah, think of them as like witches. And it's very, very interesting because there's a character that comes up in this show who's a masked character, and I think it's Morok. I'm not quite sure I'm saying it okay.
I know who you mean, and we know how I love to butcher names.
Yeah.
In this.
Can you IMDb it just so you can get the spelling for me?
I'm getting it up now.
So that character being masked, I've got a weird theory, but purely based on the witches element. So you look at episode 2, it's called Toil and Trouble.
Yes.
That is a famous thing for witches from Macbeth, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know, hubble bubble, toil and trouble. I mean, pretty much that's in the vernacular for witch everywhere. You know, for anywhere you go, you'll recognise that as meaning witch.
Yes.
Now, Morok, I think that's it. Morok, was it?
I'm trying to... It's actually not listed yet on IMDb. That character's not even on there at all. So I'm going to go on to Disney Plus.
Apologies, everybody. You know, we watch the show, we record as quick as we can. I know I need to work on my notes. But I'm going to say this because Morok, I think that's how you say it, is actually something I recognise. Like, it was kind of like really bugging me. Like, why do I know that?
Right, yeah.
And it's actually a Knight of the Round Table.
Oh.
So in the Arthurian legend, King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, one of the knights had a evil spell cast on him by a witch. And it corrupted him.
Oh, okay.
And it turned him into a wolf, I think. But he managed to fight off this curse to corrupt him. And he remained as a wolf, but defending the realm. I'm going to apologise. Anyone who knows this legend better than me, apologies if I'm butchering that. It's very broad brushstrokes, and I've not read this in a long time. But the minute the character name was said, and he was masked,
yep,
and we know that it's a witch, and we're talking witchcraft, I did wonder if that masked character is actually Ezra. Now, Ahsoka, Sabine, all these characters are looking for this character who was a Jedi who was being trained, called Ezra Bridger. Now, for anyone who's not watched Star Wars Rebels, he was a main character. He was a young boy, force sensitive, and he was found by a group of rebels, and he was trained by a Jedi who was kind of in hiding, but trained him, and he used old training videos from Anakin and Obi-Wan to harness, you know, his abilities and everything. And he's one of the main characters that kind of grows in that show.
Mm-hmm.
And he also is the reason why Grand Admiral Thrawn is missing.
Yes.
He enlisted the help of the Purrgil, who are space whales, for want of a better word. We got a nod to them in season 3 of The Mandalorian because
we did indeed. Yeah.
Because Grogu spots them. But basically, using his connection of the Force to them, they wrap themselves around Thrawn's fleet and launch them into hyperspace, into sort of the unknown regions of space. That's the last we saw. That's how kind of Rebels ends.
Oh, spoiler alert. God.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do that with this.
I haven't seen it yet, man. Come on.
Yeah, I know. But we're kind of watching the next chapter. It's important.
It's like reading the second half of a book without reading the first half, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It is a lot of that, yeah. So, I don't know. I could be completely reaching on this. But when I heard the name, it did trick something. So I sort of thought, oh, hang on a minute, that's this. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, the wolf sigil is kind of massive to Rebels. because there's a mural, and that's depicted in this show as well. You see it. There's kind of like a celebration on this planet of when they were liberated from the Empire.
Yes,
and there's
yeah.
Yeah, you got it. And there's like a direct pull mural on the wall, which is painted in the style of the animation, which I thought was a really great
like
nod.
that. So now, I haven't seen Rebels, but I've seen enough of Rebels.
Yeah.
To kind of
recognise.
Like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was kind of like a great nod, I thought, from live action point of view, because also it kind of works. You know, if you're going to do a paint a mural, it's not going to be like pristine picture. Someone's going to kind of, artify it, cartoon it a bit, and so
it
the
works
fact they
and
did
fits
that
beautifully. Yeah,
it does. It really, really was, and it was kind of a direct pull shot as well from one of the final Rebels scenes. So I looked at that, and also the actor who's kind of the leading that celebration, if you like, is the guy who voiced the same character in the show. So that was kind of nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool then.
Yeah, he got to come back and kind of do this in live action.
I like it maybe bits like that.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, Bo-Katan obviously is the most famous example, I think, and we love Bo-Katan.
Always
love Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah.
Bo-Katan, yeah. So we kind of have that nod and we have that reference to that. But like I said, even in that picture, you see the two wolves, one white, one dark, and it was always kind of like a depiction of the light and the dark, and the sort of balance of the Force, and Ezra was in the middle of that. Similar to like Anakin was obviously on a much grander scale. But so we've already got the wolf ideology there. We've now got the witch ideology and the witchcraft and that. Yeah. And then we've got this character wearing a mask. So, I don't know. 2 + 2 = 4 in my head, but I'm probably completely wrong. So,
it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so if I am right about that...
you can tell a lot of this is going to be based around the Ezra character and their search for him.
Yeah.
That could be a real one of those twists where you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah, but because we know Thrawn is back, so where's Ezra then?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting to me because the idea of Thrawn would have obviously imprisoned Ezra when they got taken off. He's got his entire fleet army there. They'd have been able to throw him in a cell. So the idea of him getting back and perhaps the witch corrupting him with something, and then that fits very nicely to that Arthurian legend and that character name.
Very true.
We shall see.
Keep an eye on that one.
But yeah, sorry. Going back to some of the scenes then, I loved the scenes with the temple. I loved her sort of finding the orb. I guess globe. I'm not quite sure what they're calling it in this.
I believe it holds one of the Infinity Stones.
You're looks cross-pollination, yeah. The thing, like I said, I kind of felt like there was a little nod to Indiana Jones in amongst that.
Yeah,
I almost feel like I could get that bit where sort of the place is going to explode because of that robot and she's running, and I could get the
yes,
run.
And I've got to say, for those 3 droids that explode,
yeah,
that is some hell of an explosion on those 3 droids.
Yeah. So I think that's it's kind of funny because that happens and it kind of feels that could easily be throwaway, couldn't it? That could easily be. Now these are HK droids, so hunter killers.
Yes.
We saw versions of these droids back in the Clone Wars, if you remember. They were like General Grievous's guards.
Yes.
We saw Anakin and Obi-Wan fight them on his ship. And Ahsoka, is a badass. I mean, I think this is one of the things everyone needs to remember is that Ahsoka Tano was trained by Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
So she does actually have quite an aggressive fight style because Anakin was quite aggressive. When you think about the way the Jedi are, but at the same time, she was also trained by Obi-Wan. And there's these little nods to both. And I think the actress Rosario Dawson has nailed this. Because obviously you can do it in animation, but when you then take that to live action, you've got to really get the nuances. So just to give you an example, when she cuts through those droids,
yep,
that was a bit Anakin. when she's fighting Murrock later on, there's this scene where he's leaving and he summons his saber, and it flies past her, and all she does is just touches one way and it flies past her shoulder while she's locked eye contact.
Yeah.
That was Obi-Wan, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
that was like peak.
No.
Yeah, like something like a bomb would go off near him, and he'd be like, "I'm using the Force. I know it's nowhere near me. I'm fine. I'm just going to be stood here cool as a cucumber."
Yes.
And she just kind of like, whoop, yep, there you go. So, I think the actress is nailing that. I'm a big fan of her anyway. From the Netflix Marvel shows when she was the night nurse.
Yeah, she
across
is
all of them.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, I really like her, and I think when I saw she was cast as Ahsoka, I was like, oh, that's going to be so tough, because you're taking on this character, which so many people have like a really built-in like idea, like beloved character. I was like, I like her, best of luck sort of thing, and from the incarnation we saw in The Mandalorian to this, I'm so happy. She's nailing it for me.
Yeah,
I know everyone will have opinions on that, but for me, she's nailing it.
It's difficult though, because the Ahsoka that we know from the animated Clone Wars was obviously very young Padawan.
Yeah.
This is a long time after. She's fully grown. She's had her own experiences in life and stuff. So it's not going to be quite the same character because you change as you grow.
You got to keep in mind as well, obviously, we do get Ahsoka in Rebels.
Yes.
So we do see an older incarnation of her again later on, but like you said, again, it's almost like teenager, young adult now kind of fully, this is fully grown and in every sense.
Badass.
She's great, yeah. I mean, and she just, the two saber wielding as well, which just adds to something that's pretty cool. Something that kind of surprised me and I think went over my head, David Tennant voicing Huyang Droid. That was kind of like, all right, fair enough. Where the hell did that come from?
That guy is everywhere.
He does not turn down work. I like that. It's a very Scottish thing, that, I think. It's like, oh, you're going to pay me to do it? Done. I'm there. Yeah. David, you've got 20 other jobs on. Well, make it 21. They're paying me. Yeah, I kind of like that. We do catch up with a few other characters, obviously. General Hera, that was kind of a, hello. So Hera was a big part of Rebels, leader of one of the cells, obviously fought in the Battle of Endor, and is now a general in the New Republic.
Yeah, she's had a couple of upgrades or promotions.
Promotions, definitely. So that was kind of like, oh, hello, all right. It's funny because you sort of knew these characters were going to be coming back in, but in what capacity, I wasn't sure. So General Hera, so that was interesting and kind of leading the investigation into the prisoner Morgan being taken. There was a little nod as well to calling Tana Ahsoka Agent Fulcrum, which was her code name during Rebels, during the rebellion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. That was a tiny little nod again.
So again, little bits like these are the bits I miss.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be tons, and like I said, this is going to be broad brushstrokes. They investigate Morgan going, and it kind of leads them to this, going to be seeing a Sabine. Now, this is my first gripe. It's not like a massive thing, but it's something that's happening more and more in TV in general, and I don't understand it. And I'm going to put it to you and see what you think, because Sabine and Ahsoka, the last time we see them in animation, are happy. They're in a good place. Everyone's in a good place.
Okay.
We're now thrown back together, and there's this tension between them. So something off camera, something has happened in a period that we are not seeing, which has caused this tension.
Yeah.
What? Why? Why aren't we seeing? And this is like a trope that me and you have noticed across all TV. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's something that happens in kind of everything now, it seems. It's like there must be some sort of like, there must be a tension to overcome. There must be a resolution to this thing that we have no idea what it is.
It's the no idea what it is thing. Like, so if, for example, this opens and Sabine's like, oh, it's you. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, you weren't my first choice either. And we'd all be like, what? Why are they like that?
Yeah.
If the next line is, well, ever since you abandoned me, you'd be like, oh shit,
Oopsie.
did that? Oh dear. But instead, we just get kind of, dare I say, almost like teenage angst.
Yeah, I was close to saying that.
And it's like, why are we getting this kind of stupid attitude? Like, last time we saw you guys, everything was good. So either fill in the damn blanks or snap out of it.
Yeah.
So that annoyed me,
Yeah.
as you can tell. But Sabine's living alone, which is kind of strange. She's clearly missing Ezra a lot. She's got a hollow recording of him, which is a throwback to him. He used to do those, and he used to watch them a lot when he was training, learning to be a Jedi.
Cool.
A little bit of a note on Sabine, which you might not be aware. Sabine was being trained with a lightsaber as a Jedi.
Yes.
But Sabine was deemed not to be force sensitive. Sabine is also a Mandalorian.
Yes, I understood the Mandalorian references. Yeah.
Yes, good. So when Sabine has a lightsaber, for example, that is because she used to train with Ezra, and he, that I believe, I could be wrong, the lightsaber she has was one of his.
Yes, so we get it mentioned that it was Ezra's lightsaber, but she's made adaptations to it.
Yeah, so she adapts everything she's got, from the speeder we see her messing about on, every ship, everything, her armor, she will customize everything.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of her characterization is kind of good. I did think it was a bit of a throwaway, but her messing about on the speeder, being chased down, was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, we see her living alone in this tower, and that tower is where we first meet Ezra back in Rebels. And that's where he's living. And so that was like quite a nice little full circle nod that she's now there.
Yeah.
We do, obviously, like I said, we got this tension between her and Ahsoka. I don't really understand it, so I'm not going to focus on that. But one of the things with Sabine is she was incredibly clever, incredibly good at sort of archaeology, uncovering mysteries. So it makes sense that they take this sort of orb thing to her. She obviously is going to work on it to try and crack it. However, the bad guys are onto them.
Yeah, I mean, it was very... This kind of bit here reminded me very much of watching the Clone Wars with Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like, he's told her, right, that map is not leaving this spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, we have a very important mission. You're not leaving it with this. That's the end of. And then, like, in the Clone Wars, 2 minutes later, you'd see her sneaking off somewhere. And in this, you get almost the exact same thing happens. And it always led to something bad happening. And they never work it out.
No. And it's kind of...
bloody Padawans.
Well, it kind of works the Master and the Apprentice title again, doesn't it? It kind of feeds back into that of her trying to almost assume the older role in this, but at the same time there being this tension. And, Anakin was a lot of things, of quite a phenomenal Jedi Knight. As a teacher, I'm not sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ahsoka's still alive, so he obviously taught her well.
Yeah, done something right.
Yeah, I mean, there is a very famous scene which I'm hoping they're going to really dive into during this series, because I know Hayden Christensen's set to appear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scene where Anakin makes Ahsoka train against clones. So obviously they're fighting droids all the time. But he's like, droids are automated. You can learn their patterns. You can learn the way they're doing things. You can anticipate that as a Jedi easily.
Yes.
A clone, a person, they can do stuff erratically. They can behave. They can change their firing pattern.
Yes. Now I watched this yesterday. They show this in the Tales of the Jedi.
Yes, they do.
I saw that yesterday, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
There we go. How does that feel?
1 point.
Yeah, so he basically insists that she fights the clone, and there's a lot of fan theory about this.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of fan theory out there just along the lines of, why would Anakin do that? Did he know? did he have an inkling of where this was going to go? I mean, it's difficult because what we see in the films, etc., is Anakin battling with this, and then this one moment that tips him over the edge, and then he's to try and save Padme, he goes full Sith.
Yeah.
But is there a part of him that kind of senses where this might go?
Well, yeah, I mean, having watched the amount of Clone Wars that I've seen, I haven't seen all of it, don't get me wrong.
No.
But the amount of it I've seen, I think I've messaged you backwards and forwards. Like, you can really see in parts of that where he's starting to get led astray.
Yeah, well, he's been manipulated for a long time, which is why I think the Clone Wars are important for Star Wars fans, because a lot of people find it difficult to see this character go from episode 2 to 3 and think, what? The start of episode 3 is this amazing Jedi doing this, doing that, and then he gets manipulated like that. Well, it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
Like, he is, and one of the big things, and apologies, spoiler alert for you, is Ahsoka gets driven away from him.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like what the Emperor did was strip people away, and did it in a way that hurt him.
Yeah.
So when it got to the point, because attachment, he was afraid of losing people. He lost his mother. He was afraid of losing Padme. He lost Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And in this kind of, in this way, that fed right into the Emperor's hands of being able to turn him. So it just there's a lot there for Star Wars fans to enjoy, because it really flushes out, and also you can see how aggressive he is throughout that show, which is not really the Jedi way. You hear that a few times, but he's not doing it in a kind of uncontrolled Sith way, but it's just like, we're at war. Of course I'm going to cut the guy's head off.
Yeah.
We're at war. There's this amazing scene where someone takes a prisoner and Obi-Wan's negotiating, and all of a sudden this lightsaber blade just comes through the guy's head from the back, and the guy drops to the floor, and you hear Obi-Wan go, "Anakin!" And he's like, "What?" So just done. It's like,
he kidnapped someone. I got rid of him. What's your point?
Yeah, the guy was threatening to blow us up.
Yeah.
No, he's not. So yeah, sorry, bit of a tangent.
I've got to say, in the Clone Wars, I was very much Team Anakin.
Well, he's great.
He gets done.
Yeah, he is great. I mean, and the thing is, as well, is the relationship between the two of them. You can really feel the bond, which again adds to the just when you've watched Clone Wars, then watch episode 3.
Oh, it's a completely different movie.
So it is. Everything hits, like everything from the little jokes, like I saved your life for the 100th time, 9th time. That business with this doesn't count. Yeah. And you see repeatedly during the Clone Wars stuff happens,
And Anakin saves him so many times.
So many times. And there's this, again, in the Clone Wars, there's this huge battle going on, and Obi-Wan's hiding behind, like, this rubble with his clone troops, and Anakin's just stood there. And he goes, "Anakin, get down." He's like, "Why? They're over there." There's, like, all this blaster fire, and he's just stood there calm as you like.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, why are you here?" He said, "Well, we won our battle, and I thought I'd come and help you with yours." It's like, oh.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. But anyway, sorry, going back to the Ahsoka series, Sabine is unlocking the secret and is attacked. Shin attacks her, who is the apprentice, as we discussed earlier on.
Yep.
Now, again, my second gripe, if you like, but again, this is a trope, this is a thing in Star Wars which is now happening,
yep.
And I call it the Qui-Gon annoyance. Where Sabine is stabbed with a lightsaber clean through.
Yep.
Drops.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ahsoka managed to show up and she leaves, but she survives. How many have we seen now that survived that injury? I'm counting 4 or 5 at least in live action.
There's been a few now, and Qui-Gon, who is one of the most powerful Jedis there was, couldn't.
I just don't know the explanation to this. Like, for so long, I've tried to kind of go, oh, it's because of this. Oh, lucky because of this.
All I
I've
can
now
think is that
Yeah.
Qui-Gon was the first. He was the first one to get killed as a Jedi with a blade straight through them. And they've now gone back to the Jedi Temple and they've gone, do you know what? We actually fight with lightsabers. There's a high chance someone could get stabbed by a lightsaber.
Yeah.
We've obviously not thought about this very well. Lightsaber battle, someone could get... We need to develop technology
I don't know.
to save lives, because this is obviously going to happen a few times.
I want it addressed now. I've got to the point it needs to be addressed. It's got to the point where someone needs to come out and say, well, Qui-Gon was actually belonged to a species where their heart was in their stomach, so when you see him run through for the stomach, actually went right through his heart. And I'd be like, okay, fine.
Yeah, do you know what? It's Star Wars. If I can accept Space Whales,
but it's fine.
I can accept that.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's fine. But at the moment, I am struggling now. It's got to the point now where I'm like, how? How did Qui-Gon... Forget the whole force healing thing from the sequel films, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Every time someone gets stabbed, it's quick, get the gin pack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just something that will let me know that there's a reason that people are now surviving this.
But what made me see, my gripe was completely different to yours.
Okay, bring it on.
My gripe is, don't end episode 1 on a big dramatic cliffhanger that she's been stabbed and left for dead.
Yeah.
When quite clearly she's all through the trailers, and we know this character is going to play a very big part in this show. For me, it kind of always makes me go, well, they're not dead.
Yeah, I guess.
There's a lot of characters they could have done that to that would have made me go, oh, damn, that was unexpected. And then in the next episode, you're like, okay, phew, they didn't die. When you do it like one of the main characters, you're kind of there like, how are they going to save her?
Yeah, I get your point. One of the things that I think a lot of people might get pissy with, because Star Wars fans can get that way, you may or may not know.
I am fully aware. I have deleted my emails just for this series.
Sabine has been constantly referred to as not being force sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
She was trained with a lightsaber, etc., but it was constantly like, she's not going to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
It is pretty clear and apparent early on, in episode 2 especially, she's in there, she's recovering.
Yep.
She is now force sensitive. Now, does that mean that... Because my understanding in the Star Wars universe, and again, this can be proven wrong, and this series perhaps could be opening this up, is you're kind of born that way or you're not. Think about the way the Jedi recruited. If a child is born with high midichlorians, they get taken off and become a Jedi.
This was my thought process. The midichlorians were kind of like they're there or they're not there.
Yes.
It's not like I go back, and I mean I'm going back about 15, maybe more years.
Yeah.
They had a Star Wars Online computer game.
Yes.
And it was like a mega multiplayer online game.
Yeah.
And you created a character, and once you'd had the character for like half an hour or whatever, you could press F5 on your keyboard, and you could see if you could feel any disturbance in the Force or anything in the Force. And one in X amount of thousand of characters had the ability. I thought it was the same. Like, I just thought that was a general thing. Like, one in every X amount of thousands or millions of kids had this ability. And if you're born with it, you're born with it. If you're not born with it, you're not born with it.
Yes.
I never had the idea of them being able to absorb them or create them.
Again, it's been a fan theory for quite some time that people have basically... Everyone's born with metachlorians in their system because metachlorians make up everything.
Yeah.
But the ability to communicate with them, etc., can be taught. And the level that you have will dictate whether you're Jedi or not.
Yeah.
So the kind of thinking is that some people could possibly have it very mildly, not enough to be a Jedi or something. Force sensitive is the term I think they're throwing around.
Yeah.
But
some have got it enough to be a bit of an okay psychic. Others are like full on moving boulders. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So it's like, do I move rocks? Do I move pebbles? It's kind of it needs, again. Hopefully, this series is going to expand on it a bit, because at the moment, I think fans of the Rebel show would just be like, wait, you made it really clear to us she was not force sensitive. Those are even the words that were used.
Yeah.
So can we clarify, please, what the hell's going on with this?
We get it a small amount in episode 2 when she's talking to the droid in like the medical bay.
Yeah.
And I mean, Hyang is brutal. Like, there's no sugarcoating.
No filter.
Anything there. She said I wasn't good enough. Well, yeah, that's true. You weren't. You weren't. I have seen millions of Padawans, and let's be honest, you're the worst of all of them.
You need to train.
Yeah.
You need to get better. One of the things as well is, obviously, we know that at some point Ahsoka meets Luke. That's not happened yet.
No.
Because surely, when they're talking about Jedi and stuff, she'd be like, someone get on the phone. I need Luke here.
Yeah, I know a guy.
It kind of confused me a little bit. And I'll tell you why it's confused me a little bit. It's because this is obviously post-Battle of Endor. This is post-everything. The rebellion's forming into the New Republic. Luke was a big deal in the rebellion. Luke, General Solo, everything, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. He
was a general. Surely everyone's aware of Luke.
Well, yeah.
So, surely with this going on and, Sith/Jedi killing people, one of the people you'd all be thinking about, we should really call? You should be on the phone right now. That Luke guy. Yeah, get the Luke guy.
Yes. Has anyone spoken to Master Skywalker and told him that there are Sith again?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Ahsoka hearing the words Master Skywalker might get some sort of PTSD flashback.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know about you. I mean, it's not been talked about appearing in this series or anything like that, but maybe they do meet in this series. Maybe there's a Force ghost of Anakin, like, you need my son. I don't know.
We know Hayden Christensen is going to appear.
We do.
And let's be honest, no one bloody knew that Luke Skywalker was going to appear in The Mandalorian.
No, they did very well with that. So we shall see. There's a lot of video game references in this. I mean, like a lot of video game references. Now, I only played several of the games. Cal Kestis is a character a lot of people love. And a lot of stuff in this.
Jedi, Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order. And a lot of stuff in this, like when Ahsoka's investigating, trying to, and she's sort of moving around an area, kind of like sensing, what happened in certain places. You're like, okay, that's from the game. Because you used to rock up and like use the Force to kind of work out, oh, okay, this is where this is, that's where that is.
You do. Yeah.
So there's a lot of references to that. Also, throwing back to the scene earlier on, you said about those droids exploding.
Yep.
Where she cuts the head off one, and they're hacking it, and they're worried it's going to explode. It kind of ties quite nicely to why we got that scene of the devastation of one of them blowing up, because you're kind of like, oh, you don't want to be next to that.
Yeah, God, no.
So that was that kind of made sense. It wasn't a throwaway. It kind of made sense of why they were doing that. Did you notice the planet it sent them to?
No.
Corellia.
Yes.
The homeworld of Han Solo.
No, I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, he flies a Corellian freighter from his home planet Corellia, which is where we meet him in the standalone film.
Solo. God, I haven't seen that for a long time.
Good film.
Actually
better than a lot of people give it credit for. But yeah, so Corellia, and it's like one of these shipyard things where they're dismantling everything again.
Which this was the first kind of nod I had to what the Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Because that's where the main character kind of works in one of these areas.
Yeah.
At the beginning of it, so I was kind of like, that's pretty cool, because the games have now actually been made canon.
Yeah.
So therefore, that kind of nod to the salvage yards and taking apart the old ships to instantly. Now, did you get like instantly as soon as they said, "Oh yeah, we're taking apart the old ships," and then you still have Imperials? Yeah, you'll find Imperials everywhere. They don't care as long as they're paid. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute!" Like that's not going to end well. Yeah,
well, it's like one of those. It's like one of those fun. Like sometimes there's stuff that's really subtle.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, ooh, I wonder. Look at the way that guy looked at that guy.
Yeah,
you know, oh, that guy. Oh, you know, she mentioned the Empire being scum, and that guy pulled a face.
Yeah. Oh, did you see
this felt? This felt kind of like it would actually be a bigger shock if they don't get ambushed at some point during this. Like, this would actually be a larger shock to me if this wasn't a massive fight coming.
If this was genuinely all above board. Like,
like this not only smacks of being dodgy, the guy basically just told them wearing a shirt with "I heart the Emperor." You know, he is literally grinning. But I guess it kind of goes the other way, which is like, I almost went, oh, well, this is too obvious.
Yeah.
No, this is clearly going to be it. Yeah, but anyway, like you said...
Weaver or something his name was, and it was like,
you
just know, this guy, he might as well have had a neon sign, Palpatine.
Yeah, it's like big, speed doll, big Papa Palpatine.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, it does kind of pass. They're investigating. They're looking for this hyperdrive from one of the super star destroyers. It's kind of like, okay, this is the path from. We're trying to track this down.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all hell breaks loose. Like you said, it's like, oh no, I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
They were surrounded by Imperial.
What made me laugh so much is the fact that they're both sat there. So you've got Hera and Ahsoka are both sat on the side of this thing, and they're looking around, and it was like they were throwing in the little subtle kind of people looking at each other, like really subtly in the background. And I'm like, why are you doing it so subtle? We can all see. We all see exactly what's about to happen. Why are you giving me subtle side eye? Come on.
So come on. We all know what you're about to do. The guy literally told us in Act 1.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we do get... What did you think? Because one of the things this show has got straight away, there's a lightsaber fight.
So this makes me think, because I know that me and you absolutely loved the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of criticism online of, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why is there no lightsabers? Why is there not enough? There should be battles in every scene. Why is there no lightsaber? Yeah. And that was a big thing on social media. And now we've come into this one, and it's like, we've had like 2 or 3 decent lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
But none of them have felt forced. Like, I use the word forced and forced. You did
very well.
Just in case the listeners didn't get that one. But they didn't feel like that much of a... kind of like, we have to throw them in. It kind of felt like naturally done.
Well, it made sense because the story was building to certain things. I think the fight, I mean, my favourite is the Marok character. I think main reason being is I don't feel like Ahsoka at any point's troubled, but at the same time, I've seen her cut through Inquisitors in the past with those types of blades.
Yep.
I've seen her take out, very well trained. I mean, the Tales of the Jedi, there's one in there where she takes one out, like, brutally.
Yes.
She the Padawan of Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
She knows what she's doing. And I kind of felt in that, like, okay, there's a matchup here, which would be, and again, going back to my theory, Ezra would be able to hold his own. Ahsoka would win, in my opinion.
Yep.
But Ezra would be able to hold his own, which this character does.
Yeah, like...
And then flees.
For me, it was kind of like this character and this battle, he was more of a blockage of her getting to where she wanted to be. Yeah. Like, it never felt like, no
one was trying to strike a killer blow.
Yeah, it was more just, I'm just holding you up, love. Like, it was almost like they knew what was happening. Like, this isn't a fight to the death. This is just a pure get past me then.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Get past
Yeah. Just try and get past. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, there's obviously loads of bits and pieces we can dive into, but like I said, I didn't want to be detail heavy on this. So overall, for these 2 episodes setting up, I mean, it's an 8-episode series.
Yeah.
We're getting one a week from this point on.
Yes.
How do you feel about it as a setup? How do you feel overall? Having watched the 2 episodes, what's your thinking?
I am glad I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch it.
Really?
I am really enjoying, like, each one of the seasons that they've done, each series they've done, has been completely different to the next one.
Yeah.
And this the same. This is very different, but I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. And I have one more thing that I have in my notes that we have to talk about.
Bring it on.
I have a new favourite character in Star Wars.
Okay, who's your new favourite character in Star Wars?
Hero's Droid. Like that guy. No, I haven't been going through your stuff. Like, I've never heard sass in a droid like that. Like, R2-D2 was a bit sassy. This droid basically accuses her of going through her stuff. She goes, have you tried looking under the battery? And, like, it's all like whistles and beeps and stuff, but you can understand it as, like, you know, the droid has turned around and gone, why would it be under that? Oh, I found it!
To be clear, this droid is like that in Rebels.
Yeah. Oh, he is like my favourite character already.
Is a fan favourite for sure.
Yeah.
So if this is your first meeting, prepare to fall in love.
Oh, already there, mate. Already there. Best droid. Yeah. Like, let's all be honest. C-3PO is the worst droid. This is by far the best droid.
Yeah, I'm up there. I'm there. I mean, for me, just for emotional childhood attachment, R2 takes some replacing. But yeah, this.
Just the I haven't been through your stuff. Chuck under the batteries.
Woo! Yeah. And like you said, the you can pick up the emotion, the emotes from just the noises.
Just the arm waving where he hits the target and he sticks it. It's like
everyone will enjoy him in this. Okay, so like I said, we're not going to dive into too much detail on these. This is very much just an overview because it's 2 episodes.
Yes.
Going forward, when it's 1 episode, obviously we'll dive in a bit more. But yeah, overall, absolutely loved it. Really looking forward to what they're going to do with this. I can understand why they did episode 1 and 2 together. I think it gives everyone a really great jumping off point. Kind of gives us this, like, this is everything that's going on. This is us, everyone caught up. Right, good, off we go. So I really enjoyed it. Very much looking forward to next week.
I am. I really, really am. I've enjoyed this.
Good. That's what I like to hear. So a massive thank you to everybody for listening as always. All the Star Wars fans, welcome back. You can find our show across all of the podcast platforms. You can also listen to us anytime you like from our website or our YouTube channel. That being said, everybody, I hope you all take care. We'll be back next week. Say goodbye, my friend.
I will quickly say hello as well, just very quickly. Sorry, I know this is completely off the thing, but Ryan and Mikey on our Discord have been going like overload geeking out on the Ahsoka chat on our Discord. So if you have enjoyed the podcast, we will make sure we link through straight to our Discord for the Ahsoka chat because they are really going into like detail. So a big hello to them, and then to everyone else, goodbye, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.